Hey YouTube, it's me, Jen, your Pudgy Picker.
And Kim.
And we are here for another episode of Two Sisters.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 booths. No, just kidding.
I was
One
going to
booth.
say, you're getting ambitious there. No, I can't see us expanding, although Mr. Pudgy Picker keeps saying, you need a bigger booth. I'm like, don't, bite your tongue.
Everybody tells us that.
I know. Okay, we'll talk about that another day.
I was going to say, who knows if I can get myself in gear in my garage sailing, we might need another booth.
So if you hear any kind of motor in the back, it is a fan because it's warm. And I love you and I want my audience to hear me, but it's kind of warm, so deal with it. So today is podcast number 14, and this is a subject we will be covering tonight and covering again in the future in some different aspect. It will not be the only time we talk about it. And a lot of people have been requesting this particular subject, pricing.
Yes, and we'll cover it again and touch on it again.
Because it's important. It is definitely an aspect of the business that really is important.
It is, but it's just so, it has so many variables, which we'll cover. It's not an easy cut and dried answer.
No, it's not even a yes or no like we usually do.
I know.
Yes and no. So I guess the first thing we'll mention is the fact that if any of you sell on eBay also, other than selling in a physical space, you think about how you price for that. And that's kind of a good stepping off point of how you price for the booth. And I know since I shop for my booth as well as my eBay store, a lot of things I'm not really sure. So I do look them up on eBay to decide whether I want to sell them on there or if I want to put it in my booth. So I guess that's something that we need to consider. You look it up. I know there's a million different ways to look something up. Look at the solds. Look at the what's being offered now.
I don't care what's being offered now. That doesn't bother me as much, really.
We have this discussion all the time.
I know we do, but this is part of pricing.
Okay, do your way, and then I'll say the correct way.
Oh. I see how this one's going to go. No. To me, it doesn't matter necessarily how much you're asking for something. I mean, that's like walking into those garage sales and you see people have printed out sheets. This is going for $5,000 on eBay.
I hate that.
And it's only $100 here. Well, just because you saw it listed at $5,000 doesn't mean that that thing's going to sell at that price.
You can ask any price you want.
So there you go. The only thing I take into consideration is sometimes when you look up an item and there isn't very many of them or they don't show up. That means a higher price for me usually, because you know that if somebody else glances, they're not going to find anything but you. But I always sort by what is sold and the highest price, including shipping, because then you know if there's been any activity on it and what the current sale price was. Because as we always say, it's only worth what someone's willing to pay for it. So if they paid $50 for something, you saw it mailed, shipped, whatever, for $50, and then you find someone listing it for $500, you ain't gonna get no $500 for it.
Well, I guess my view on it is if you look and you see solds, and you see, let's say you have an item that sold for $50 consistently, $50 to $60. And then you go and see what's being offered now, there's not many. There's not as many as there was, and the price is a little bit higher. So I take both into consideration. I really do look at what's sold and what's currently being offered. And not to say that if something is being listed as $50, I have asked more for an item because I know my description's better. My pictures are better. Mm-hmm. So that's not necessarily a hard and fast rule anyway.
Well, I was just going to say, this conversation is going to set the precedent for the whole conversation, the whole podcast, because this, like I said, is not a cut and dried thing. It's not a list. It's not a formula. It's not you can drag your finger down and go, that's the price. Because there's so many variables.
And that's why there's so many opinions on how you should do it.
Well, you know what they say about opinions.
Yeah. So the point is that there's so many different opinions on it because there are so many different ways to do it.
Yes.
So, that really lends itself to, everybody saying,
Mm-hmm.
this is the way it should be done.
Mm-hmm.
So that being said, when I look something up and I decide that it's really not going for as much on eBay, plus you have to consider people shopping in our store or in our antique mall, they're a certain segment of the population, and there's not thousands of sellers in our mall.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess that's a big part of it is, there are not as many people selling the same items. So the strict competition, even on something that's unusual or vintage, there's that competition that you have. And with ours, there may be one or two other people selling a vintage item that's similar to yours, but again, it's the condition and their price and, a color, anything that could really change
Yes.
the value of it. So in that way, it's good because we're competing against each other, but we're mainly selling with each other and supporting each other. So, there's very few items. A lot of the newer stuff, I could say you have more competition on. I mean, people are starting to carry fidget spinners in our mall.
Oh, jeez.
So, that is something
Don't get me started on that.
So that's something that it's a standard price,
Yeah.
and this is the way it is, and
Yeah.
you're going to ride that wave and whatever. And it's just a matter of time before that market tanks,
Yeah.
and then you're finding them in
Yeah, a bunch
bags
of
at
inventory.
you're finding, a bag full of 20 or 30 of them for, $5 at the thrift store.
Yeah.
So, yeah, because everything makes its rounds, then it hits the thrift store, no matter what it is.
Yeah.
So I guess that's part of, what is your pricing strategy for eBay and how does it correlate to our booth? I think one of the biggest impacts on how much you can charge for something is where is your mall located. That's a big deal because you could have a booth in a mall that is in a rural area. Our last antique mall we were in was more rural.
It was out of the way. You
Yeah.
had to plan to go there. That
Yeah.
wasn't a destination you happened to just fall
It's
across.
not just a drive-by place. Like
Yeah.
ours, where we're at now, is very much, it's not like in the city, but it's more close to the city, and it's a more populated area.
Yeah.
And people, we ask people, how did you hear about us? Because, for the advertising committee, you want to know how the money needs to be spent. The two top ones, they just said it again today at an ad team meeting that I attended, that it was people driving by and people hearing from friends. Those are the top two. And that's, because I've had people say, oh, I finally got in here. How long have you guys been open? Like 6 months? Or like, it was 2 years in April. They're like, what? So, yeah.
Have them walk in and stand there and look around and go, I thought this used to be a,
Yeah.
what was it,
Big
B&K
Lots.
or Big Lots
It was
or
Big
something.
Lots, yep.
I thought this was a Big Lots. What happened? It's been a while since you've been up here, hasn't it?
Yeah. So, you need to think, are you in like, middle of nowhere America? Are you in downtown Manhattan? I mean, are you in New York City? Are you in San Francisco? Are you in San Diego? Are you in a place that demands a higher price? Because it's just like the real estate market. It's location, location, location.
Yep.
You can have the exact same house, same conditions, exact same. Just pick it up and set it somewhere else, and it's worth 5 times as much as where it started.
Yeah.
So this is the same thing. If you're paying, people say, oh, well, and the closer you are, if you're in a big city, you have a higher, may have a higher rent, but you can demand a higher price.
Yeah.
And there was, we have a customer. What country is she? She literally comes here from another country,
There's a couple of different
buys
ones.
a ton of stuff.
Yep.
She puts it in a big shipping crate and ships it home for her shop.
Yep.
Where was it?
I don't know. There's a couple in India.
And
I know
was it?
'cause they used to come to the other shop too. When they're here, they hit everywhere.
Yeah. They buy up
Yep.
stuff.
And they put it into one of those big shipping containers.
Yeah.
And overseas.
So you figure if you're paying essentially what people are asking in an antique mall, and you're paying
England. One was from England.
I think it was England. Yeah, that
Yeah.
must be the one I was thinking of. And you figure you're paying to have that freighted back home, and you're going to make money above that. They must have a really good spotter wherever they're at. So, you have to consider where you're located. And there's things that we can sell in our booth now. In our old mall, we could only charge half as much.
Literally, because
Yeah.
when we first moved in over here and we walked around and looked around and everything, we priced things purposefully higher because of the area we were in and everything. We said, let's try a little bit higher than we think, and then we can adjust. I mean, it's easier to come down on price than it is to set it out, have it disappear, and go, oh, maybe I should ask
Follow
for
the
more.
person out to the parking lot. Wait a minute, I should have asked more for that.
There you go. So that's kind of the idea we had because of once again, looking around at what other people were selling and other pricing and that, and we bumped it up, and I'm glad we did. And there's still times where it's like, ooh, that went really quick. Maybe I should have asked for more.
Or there's times I had a big, what's real popular now is like pictures that are printed on a canvas and it's stretched over, wood frame. And I had one it was probably 2.5 feet by 3 feet. It was a big one. And it was black and white, and it looked like it was not necessarily a bridge, but it was like over a dune and it went out to the beach, but it was in black and white. And I had that for probably 2 months, almost 2 months out there, and it finally sold. I forgot totally what I put on it. I put like $28 on that thing, and I was like, holy cow, what was I thinking? Well, somebody thought it was worth the price. Yep. So there's times I think, I'll just put this amount, and then I stop and go, no, bump it up to $4 or $6, and it sells. So we are in a better spot as far as we're able to demand a higher price. And things that I would have bought to resell in our old mall,
oh yeah,
I wouldn't buy them now.
Past them.
Yeah, I wouldn't buy it
right
now.
Past it.
So,
well, like my handmade things, I couldn't give them away at the door of people leaving that other place. Yep. But I mean, I think I've done pretty good over here.
You know what it is? I've also said this about our old space as opposed to our new space. You find a real cool like jar or like a big metal, like a apothecary type jar. You don't have to put anything in it. You don't have to stage it. You don't have to do anything to it. You just take it up there in the old spot, and it would sell because people go, oh, I could put this in it. I could put that in it. Here, they don't want to do that.
Nope.
They want to pick it up, buy it, take it home, set it on a shelf, and it looks like it's supposed to.
Yep.
I don't know if it's less imagination or they just don't want to fuss with it.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but, it's just one of those things that it just sells that way.
My thought on it is the old place, like you said, it's out of the way. People would purposely come there to shop. And out that way, we had a lot of people coming in from another 20, 30 minutes the other direction, which was
really
rural.
in the sticks, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of farmland, a lot of grape country, and people would buy things because they had cottages and stuff that they rent out there close to the lakes. And
Geneva on the Lake is a city that's
it's a popular destination.
Yeah.
In the summer, it's near campgrounds and all of that.
And they have like if you can Google it, look it up. They have like a whole street that is arcades and restaurants and just you can go and just walk the whole. It's like a strip.
Yeah.
And they have little itty bitty cottages that you can rent. We've had people come in buying signs and decorations that owned those cottages.
Exactly. So I think in a way they were buying to decorate with more so than out here. Where we are, it is an established area. There's lots of houses and apartments and so people are coming over there to Gabe's and everything else looking for something to go hang up in their house or they're getting rid of one style and going with something else, so they're looking for specific things.
I think the other thing I've noticed too is where we had our old space in the previous mall, it was not as diverse culturally as the area we're in now. We're closer to the city.
Oh, yeah.
There's more of a diverse amount of people and different colors and different religions and different beliefs. And I know in the old mall, I couldn't sell African American art. It was not a regular thing I would look for. Here, I buy it, and we're so close to the city and close to different neighborhoods that have, diverse colors, that I can buy, really nice African American statues, wood carvings, pictures, and people snap them up.
And not even specifically that culture. Just recently, we had a guy come in two different days, and he literally went through there, and vendors were following him around everywhere they went, trying to find more for him. And he was buying anything Asian he could find.
Oh, yeah.
Japanese,
and it didn't
whatever.
matter what it was. No. It was from furniture to wall hangings to little knickknacks.
Yep.
He literally spent
of it.
Hundreds and hundreds of dollars.
Yeah, I think he said he came in with $2,000. He said, I have to stop at this point because I've hit my limit for today, but I'll be back. So he
was a younger guy, too.
Yes, he was. He had an older gentleman he was walking around with. So, yeah, $2,000.
You don't know.
Just specifically that cultural
you just
type
don't
thing.
know.
Yeah.
So it's one of those that, we're in a more diverse area, I think, than we were previously. Mm-hmm. And it's, it's nice to be able to buy more of a selection of things.
Oh, it makes it more interesting in the booth, too. I mean, there's so many things to look at.
Yeah. So, that is a real big, I think the first thing when it comes to pricing is where you're located. What will the market bear? And if you don't have a space yet, and you have an idea where, the antique mall you want to be in, go in, walk around. What are the people asking? I mean, is it garage sale prices? Is it really, higher end? That's, kind of look around and say, is this, what I want for the items? Is it gonna sell here?
In the stores and things that are around near you, Gabriel Brothers, they've changed the name to Gabe's, is right down from us. Now, that's not a super high-end store, but it's not an inexpensive store either. And they have a lot of art and specialized,
and
it's a little bit higher
decorative,
priced. Because
they're supposed to be a discount place.
They are discounted from what the original prices are, just like Home Goods and TJ Maxx. They carry the name brands that are overruns or overstocks or old stock, but that's the same kind of thing. So I think too, I mean, there's a dollar store, granted, and a place to get your plates and stuff, but if people are there shopping Gabe's, they're not too discouraged by our prices because they're less expensive. Anybody like me, if I go to buy a gift or something, I go to a place like Gabe's or Home Goods or something where the quantities, it's always changing because they don't have a large quantity of things. And you can find unusual things.
They have a lot of good seasonal stuff too. Do we have a moth in here?
I told you about that moth.
I thought you said you killed it.
No, but I told you better watch it.
Oh, if that buzzes me, I'm gonna scream. It went behind the picture.
It could pick you up and carry you away.
You a fly swatter? Holy cow! It's like one of those prehistoric dinosaur things.
I know. And Mantra.
Oh my god. Mothra.
Mothra. Even my cat yesterday, I was telling Jenny, even my cat yesterday was like, holy mackerel, I ain't going near that thing.
It just went behind that picture.
Oh, okay. Well, as long as he stays there. If you hear a scream, you know what happened.
Oh my gosh. If that thing... And see, you don't... people know what my hairstyle is. I got a lot of product in my hair. If something flies into my hair, it's stuck.
It's skewered.
Yeah, it's in there and it's buzzing around trying to get out, and that's...
Oh, okay. Well, now for that. Sorry for that little side adventure there.
Well, I'm afraid. I'll wait for it to come back out.
Oh. Anyway, but the point being that if there a lot of people like me, sometimes you got extra time and you're like, oh, well, I didn't really find anything to hear that grabbed me. Oh, maybe I'll go down there, and then you're not that put off by the pricing or anything there because it's, I think, pretty reasonable. And they're all one of a kind. You're not going to go in there and find 20 of one thing on a shelf usually. So
yeah, that's very true. So I guess so. We answered like where. So where is your antique mall? And this one seems like a silly question, but when? Are you selling things in season? And that's a big one because something can be worth a lot more money, you know, December 24th as opposed to December 30th. So it, you know, it depends.
Now that
on,
depends too. Now on
Oh, here
eBay,
she goes. Yeah, well, that's
you can still have seasonal
yeah.
stuff on
But
there.
I mean, when it comes to if you sell things
Oh,
in
yeah.
season, you're going to
Yep.
have a better chance.
Yep.
So if you have a snowman, it's going to do better, and you're going to get a higher price in November as opposed to now or August.
Unless you have me, I like snowmen. I'll buy it any time of year.
You're a weirdo.
I
That's
know.
right. And you're a cheapskate too.
I'm a cheapskate weirdo.
So you know that's something else to consider.
Quit looking at the picture.
I'm waiting
It's-
for it to come back out. Oh,
It's not going to get you.
it's giving me the willies. Okay, so another consideration, and we've kind of touched on this, is how are others in your mall pricing their items? Why are you laughing? I keep looking up there. I'm waiting for it to. Oh,
I'm sorry, I'm having a moment.
oh, you're having a long moment. So, how are others pricing it? We kind of talked about that, and you know, if you're selling more unique items, it's not necessarily, you know, you're going to find the exact same item, but you're definitely going to know what kind of prices you're going to be able to fetch for similar items. Another thing is how trendy are your items. You know, we were talking about different waves of decorating
Yes.
type things, like chalk painted items. They're really big up there now. Trending colors. What color, you know, if you are one that paints or redoes furniture. Is it retro? Is it vintage? Is it mid-century?
I love mid-century.
Yeah, it depends. A lot of that stuff, like mid-century, 15 years ago, you probably couldn't give it away. Now, you even look on Craigslist, and it's like $500 for these,
It's
you know,
'cause
this
people
table.
like me that lived through the end of that, it's like, oh, I like that.
So, yeah, I mean, you know, you see, like, the shabby chic trademark, I know, the shabby chic, if you would have tried to peddle that years ago, people would have been like, why am I going to buy this? It's all chipped up. That's dumb. I'm not going to pay for that.
But you have to be careful. You can't use shabby chic on stuff, you know.
I
that's
know, you can't
trademark.
do that, yes. But I'm just saying, it's, you know, if something is that style will not be in style forever. And it, you know, and if you are trying to sell stuff that's of that style when it's not in style, you know, you may eventually
Well, you
sell it,
ain't
but
gonna
you're
sell
not
it.
going to, and you're
No.
not going to get the price you want out of it either. So, you know, like we said, chalkboard, you know, chalk paint, and chalkboard paint
Well, the,
are very popular right now.
just because it's old doesn't mean
People want
somebody
it.
want it. Yeah. She's still looking.
I thought I saw something. Okay.
You got on some of that. Anyway.
So, you know, and then you got certain items that like you can't give away. I know if there's something that's selling and I can get my hands on it and I can sell it, I'm going to ride that wave. And I will admit, I have
I'm
my
not
hand up in the
ashamed.
air. I'm not ashamed to admit that I made my own redneck wine glasses, which were a little mason jar on top of a candlestick holder from the dollar store. I made them. I sold them for $8 a piece. I made a lot of money. And then you got to a point where you couldn't give them away.
No, because even the dollar store was selling them. So when you get
Yeah.
to that point, forget it.
But I mean, hey, if it's a trend and you can get in on the trend and ride it out, that's fine.
Yeah.
But you just got to know that
You
that
gotta know when
train's
to
gonna
get off.
Yeah, that train's gonna come into the station, and that's gonna be
That's
the end of
right.
that.
Yeah.
So you don't want to get caught with too much of that
Yeah,
kind
I
of
was
stuff.
just gonna say, watch your backlog on that.
So knowing what other people are selling and knowing what they're selling it for, that's not saying you have to price exactly or anything. And in our business, it's a very unique market. It's not like eBay where, you know, I'm going to, you know, buy all these, you know, iPhone cases and sell them when you can go on there and buy an iPhone case that's, you know, an off-brand for $3 free shipping. I mean, you know, the competition for new and what's the term they use for that? Oh, there's a term, I know Scavenger Life always uses it for commodity items. So something that, you know, if I'm selling it and you're selling it, then I gotta beat you because, you know, people buy more from you. But in our business, we have unique items and different types of items, different condition of items that, you know, there is some wiggle room there. So that's definitely a plus.
For sure.
So what are you selling? You have to consider, when I buy something, let's say I buy a little table, a cute little side table, and I buy it for $5. But I think, okay, I got to paint it. So I'm putting in elbow grease. I'm fixing it up. I'm refurbishing it. You know, it has a little drawer that the front's coming off, so I got to repair it. I have to clean it, make sure it's presentable. You know, you need to count your cost of your time, all the, you know, fixing it up, painting it, whatever. You know, that needs to go into your price. So you don't say, oh, I got this table for $5. It took me 6 hours and $20 worth of, you know, things to fix it up, and I'm going to sell it for $15. It's like, you have to consider, you know, if I put all this time and effort into this, am I going to get enough out of it to make it worth my while?
And that can also affect on whether you want to buy the piece or not, is how much time you have to put in, because that's, once again, time is money. But at the same time, you also have to remember, such in this case, we're talking about selling in a mall, so you're putting a sticker on there. You had to pay for that sticker. It's gonna go through the registers. We get charged for each time someone uses a credit card, so you need to include
3%.
You need to include that 3% in your pricing. And
we pay a 10% commission.
Yep.
And we have rent.
Yep.
So, and remember what we talked about last week about, you know, it taking that space. You're paying for that space in your booth as part of your rent. So you have to consider all of that too. So after all this goes through, is it worth your while? And the other thing is, and I know I have been guilty of this in the past, oh, I'll do this, I'll get this, it won't take long to paint it, to redo it, to this and that, and then it sits, and it sits, and it's... So a lot of times I will see something and go, oh, that would be so cute if I could A, B, and C to it. And then I'm like, no, I'm not taking on any more projects. I got enough going on. So, you know, all that needs to be put into consideration. And, you know, but little tables, I mean, you know, and if you, a lot of people up there, that's totally all they do pretty much, is making new things out of old things, and you know, painting it and you know, matching a little lamp. I know there's a space that has like a little vanity table, and it's painted like a mossy green color, and they have a little teeny
chippy.
Lamp.
It's chippy, not painted nice. It's like shabby chic.
And they have a little lamp on there, and the fabric matches.
It's so cute.
Oh, it is. And I said, if I ever bought that vanity table, I would have to buy the lamp too.
Yep. It's so cute.
Yeah, I mean, so there are people up there that's the main gist of what they're doing up there. And then there's other people who just like to do a few pieces here and there. So it all depends, you know, whatever you're selling, what, you know, are you going to be able to get, you know, money and a profit out of that?
Because it's real easy, especially at first, when you first have these booths. It's like, oh, I only paid $4 for this. I only paid $5 for this, and I could sell it for $10. You know, I'm making up twice what I paid.
Yeah.
But no, when you think about everything that goes into it, how much are you really walking away with? So. Yeah.
And I know, like you said, the excitement of getting in there and having awesome stuff, and ooh, this is going to be fun. The bottom line is still, are you making money? Are you making profit? You know, do you have enough money to invest back into what you're doing and have extra to pay the bills or, you know, whatever you're using your money for? Yeah. So that's a big consideration.
For sure.
So I have a huge wood rocking horse that I got at a garage sale for less than $10. It is probably 4 to 4.5 feet tall. It's really big.
Wow.
Very beautiful. It needs a new mane and a new tail. It had, yarn that looked like a little kid was playing on it and ripped some of the hair out. So that's something I have to do. And I've had it for a year, and I'm like, or more. I'm like, I so got to get on that because I want to get that out there for the fall, because people like to gift those, and it's like, you know. So,
Put it on your to-do list.
oh, my to-do list is so long.
I know it's wrapped around a few times.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
crazy.
I know.
So, for those of you who wanted us to give you a, send us a picture. We'll tell you how much to sell it for. We
Ain't
can't do
happening.
that. We can't do that because
No.
we don't know your area. We don't know what price would demand in that area. And the funny thing is, and I've probably said this before, is we had a double booth in our old space. We had 200 square feet. We have half the size that we did. We have half the size now. And I, personally, am making close to double what I did with double the space.
Yeah,
And
that's
that is crazy awesome to me that that's the case.
And I'm selling things at such a higher price
Mm-hmm.
that even though, because of my circumstances, I have a smaller, very small amount in the booth right now, even though I'm still selling and still bringing in more sometimes than I was, I'd go out there without a check. More than once I didn't get a check because of the sales being so slow. But I mean,
And this is the summer slump.
yeah,
This is the slow time.
yeah,
So you still have people out there shopping,
yeah.
but it's not third quarter or fourth quarter by any means. And I saw several things go through the front register of mine.
Mm-hmm.
In just the hour and a half I was there today, I was so thrilled.
Mm-hmm.
But literally, I'm making almost twice the money I was making with half the space.
Yeah.
And
you were selling it cheaper out there
Yeah.
and paying higher rent.
yeah. So, it
But
all,
then-
yeah.
But then again, using that as an example, we know that there was people out there that opened. Some didn't leave the other place, but opened up a space in this place. But they didn't.
Were in the old mall and the new mall.
Yes,
Yeah.
but they got to a point where they're like, I'm not selling anything out here, and they pulled out of there and went totally back to the other mall. But that again goes
Because
back
of what
to
they were selling.
yes, the type of items they were selling did far better in that spot than this, and vice versa.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it went. I don't know. It seemed to go for more of a grunge. You could bring in an old gas can that looked like somebody kicked it for 2 miles down the highway, and people would willingly just scoop that up.
Yep.
There are certain things that you can't sell in the new mall like that.
No.
I don't know. It's just one of those things.
Yeah.
So you need to consider all of that when you're pricing, and there's really no easy answer. You have to play around with it, and if you're unsure what to sell something at, put it a little high. Like Kim said, you can always mark it down a little bit. You cannot go back and say, hey, wait, I should have asked for more than that.
Yep.
Go a little high. You can always mark something down. You can always say, I probably was a little ambitious. I know occasionally I'll look at something that we've had out there a while and I'll say, oh my goodness, was I on drugs when I priced this? That is crazy.
Yeah,
Nobody's going to pay that.
But then you'll say, remind me, I want to mark that down. You don't, the next week it sells.
You don't
It's
know.
like, wow.
Yeah.
I guess maybe I wasn't ambitious. It just took the right person.
You just don't
Like
know.
that,
There's so
that
many
carved
variables.
plate you saw of mine go out the door.
Yeah.
That was pretty interesting. So,
Yeah, you don't know
just
what's
don't know.
going to strike someone's fancy. It's that the trinity of resale. You have the right price and the right person and the right time, and all those things need to line up, for someone to just pick it up and say, this is awesome, I'm buying this.
yeah, and when you're at this for a while, you start to get the hang of it. You never totally get the hang of it because there's
no.
so much you
So much
don't
to
know, and the market fluctuates on things, so you got to take that into consideration. But I mean, there's times I just saw on one of the boards that I follow somebody saying, "I'm new at this, and I'm afraid I don't know what to buy, what sells, what you're gonna have to figure that out."
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm to a point where a lot of times I can spot something and hone in on it, go pick it up and look at it, and you immediately know, I don't know a lot about this item, but I can tell this is a good item. And then you go and do the research, and the majority of the time
Yeah.
you're right, you could put a good price
And
on
when
it.
you see something and you're like, that is awesome.
Yeah.
Because you know there's going to be other people who think it's awesome
Yes.
too.
And the uglier, the better awesome.
Yeah, you just don't know. And the stranger, I always tell people, they're like, well, what do you buy? What do you buy to resell? People who aren't in the business.
Yeah.
And I say,
Anything.
when you go into a garage sale and you see something, you go, who in the world would buy that? I said, that's what I buy. Because that's what's going to sell. So,
that's very true.
yeah, go for the weird stuff. I mean, you just never know.
The weirder, the better.
Yep. You're the best. You like how I do that? Just swing right in there. Deliver the blow. So I hope we answered most of your questions. If you do have more questions, please leave them below, and we'll do another question and answer podcast soon. I don't know. It's hard. It's the people who come to you and say, how do you sell on eBay? And you just take a deep breath and you're like, because there are some people who just, what should I price this at? What should I buy to sell? How should I, it's good to have questions, but there are some people that want you to handhold them.
Yeah.
And I'm busy running my business. If you need a couple questions answered, I'll help you out, but
I'm gonna show you how to find out. I'm not just gonna do it for you.
Yeah, pretty much. I always tell people, if they're like, oh, I have no idea how to sell on eBay, I say, go on YouTube and type in how to start selling on eBay. I said, you'll have tutorials for days.
Yes.
To physically walk you through the mechanics of it. It may not necessarily say, this is what you need to buy, but it'll walk you through the mechanics of, you click this, and then here's where you put the pictures, and here's how you list it, and here's how, that kind of thing. That's,
anything you want to know, you can find on YouTube.
Yeah. Years ago, I used to think it was just people getting hit in the crotch and
yeah, comedy
and cat videos.
Comedy relief.
But now it's just crazy. I mean, you can type in anything in there.
Well, I always say, that's how I figured out how to take care of my mom. Was nobody knew of any training programs or anything else, so I got on YouTube, and there was literally all kinds of professional training programs on there on how to do it. So anything you need to know, there will be tutorials on there to learn it.
Yeah, how to make soap, how to make your own insecticide. I just found one because I was tired of, buying chemicals that I was going to spray outside, and I got my dogs out there, and, just anything you can think of. It's crazy. It's wonderful and crazy at the same time.
Yep.
So, do the research. Find the items, start getting a gut feel for it, and if you see something you're like, that is so cool,
buy it. Don't hesitate.
And you know what? A lot of times I'll buy something, and especially garage sale season, I'm paying 50 cents or $2 for something.
Yeah. You take a chance.
You take a chance for that price. It's like, it's worth pulling the trigger on.
Tax write-off.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Very true.
It's one of those things, and, take the chance. Be careful with your money. I'm a very pragmatic, think things through, think about it again, think about it again. And there's times when it comes to garage selling or auctions that you need to make a decision, like now. And that's not always easy, because there's part of you that you don't get it, and you're like, oh, should I have, fought to get that? Or you get something and it's a dud. I don't care who you are. I don't care how long you've been doing it.
Yes.
There are duds.
Yep.
So if you get a dud, or you get something and it doesn't work out, it doesn't sell, you can't give it away, it's all part of the learning
Get
curve.
all excited and everything, get it home and realize it's chipped, it's broken, it's missing a piece.
Or you're like me. I got a champagne glass that was like 3 feet tall. It was just so gorgeous. So I came home, I had gotten it at a garage sale. I pull my car into the garage, I open up my door, and it does this slow motion falling out of my car, and it goes all over, and I'm standing there going, I can't believe I just broke that. When it comes to, what happened, and I'm going to say this, and you watch, it's going to come back and bite me in the butt. I don't think I've really broke anything this summer. It's only July.
It's going to be something major now, because it's going to catch up for itself.
And then I know people, anybody who's watched my videos for a while, I've bought those Japanese war horses. I can't sell that thing. It's just something in the universe is conspiring against me. That I've bought two, and they were glass, and I busted its head clean off its body, and the other one I busted one of his legs. So I had to put him down. No, but I mean, it was like the second time, and I was like, because those sell. People like that, It's Asian theme, it's horse theme, it's it's got all this stuff going for it, and I literally just busted its head. Oh, so mad.
Let him go now.
And you can't be mad at anybody, but I'd rather somebody else broke it, because then I could yell and stomp around and be mad. And the thing is, too, because I know I've broke stuff at Connor, my son goes, Mom, you only paid $2 for it. I'm like, you don't understand. Because when I break it, I'm losing the money I was going to charge for it. I don't lose what it costs.
Yep.
I'm like, I could have sold that for $30. Yeah, but you only paid $1. No, I lost $30. You don't understand. So,
that's the truth of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So do your research. Figure it out. Go a little high. You can always go lower. So
that's true. Can't go broke making a profit.
Yeah.
That's to quote somebody else who I will leave nameless. In case anyone else knows. I don't want to hear about it later.
You will too.
I know.
Okay, so
hey, we made it through the podcast without Monster carrying you away.
It's still behind that
It's
picture.
still behind the picture.
I'm glad this is your house and not mine.
They only lived for a couple of days, so he's on his last leg. Let's look at it that way.
Are you going to just leave him there?
If I smack him and I miss, he's going to come after me. He's huge.
He's not that smart. Trust me.
Well, I guess if he's running into the light, it's not real bright, is he?
Yeah.
This thing's as big as your hand. You'd have to... This thing is huge.
Gosh. Oh.
I don't even know how it got in the house. It's not like it could have made it through the screen. I mean, this thing is
You must
huge.
open the door and it pushed past you. Excuse me. I need to go in.
That's
Okay.
about it. I have no idea how it got in here. As long as it doesn't go into my bedroom, we're all right.
Oh, you wait. It's like when you see a spider and then you go to get something to kill it and you come back and it's gone and you're like, oh, where did it go?
Yeah.
I should just reach up there and just push that picture against the wall and just squish them like a grape. That's the kind when you squish them, if you do it with a Kleenex, it crunches. And that's, I know.
No. Well, this wall hasn't been washed or painted yet, so it wouldn't be as bad.
It's time to
You ain't going to my room and smashing it on a wall. I just painted in there. Oh.
It's like that old fly. What was it? The fly, the old one.
Yes.
Where it's stuck in the spider web. It's going,
Help me,
help me! Oh my gosh, that gave me nightmares as a child.
The human face on it.
Yeah, it's going, help me! Oh. That's something
Now I
else
know
for
how to
people to
get
look
to
up on YouTube. Okay, so like I said, leave a comment down below or a question, and if you rather send me an email with a question, you can do that, or a comment. You can send that jen@pudgypicker.com. Please give this video podcast a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I do all kinds of fun stuff on here, lots of hauls and lots of good stuff. Auctions, hauls, estate sales, garage sales, thrift stores, and occasionally something alongside of the road. There ain't no shame in my game.
That's for sure.
Yeah, so that's all we got. We will see you next week. We already know what we're going to talk about next week. Our next podcast is talking about price tags. So we're going to talk about our price tags, and also if you're sharing the space with someone, how you can divvy up your sales if you only have one vendor number.
Yep. We've been there and done that.
So important information. We will see you next week.
Yep.
So until then,
Bye.
bye.